A superintendent Chalmers as a punk store in the world, or at least would have been at least since that unforgettable luncheon he had with his good friend, possible lover, Principal Seymour Skinner. Ever since that luncheon, Chalmers had been obsessed with steamed hams, but not just because of the additional addition to them or anything like that. No, Chalmers was more concerned over the fact that Skinner had called them steamed hams, despite the fact that they were grilled. One day Chalmers had gone to Krusty Burger and ordered a Krusty Burger. He took it to his house, and then he looked at the hamburger over the microscope. It looked like it was just steamed hams that Skinner had served him just a few nights prior, and before those burgers of this Krusty Burger was even obviously grilled, Chalmers had begun to doing some research by asking people around Springfield if they ever heard of steamed hams before. While keeping a constant eye on Skinner and his crazy explanations, Chalmers was eventually approached by Virgil the Turk and Solozos, who had claimed to have had the hamburger imported from Silsky. Solosky and Chalmers had themselves a drink at Moe's Tavern while they discussed about the steamed hams. What you must understand, my friend, is that steamed hams, as your closest claims, are the Albany expression, Solosky explained before continuing with, which means we must discover more of the truth. What would Chalmers and Skinner there when he find out about the truth? He didn't know it all, honestly. Perhaps you should fire Skinner. But that night, before on going too far, especially since Skinner all did was serve him hamburgers from Krusty Burger, he didn't try to kill Chalmers by feeding him salty rats you find under the bus of Shadow Reader's home turf. So the following day, Chalmers and Solosky then took the bus and to Springfield to New York City and arrived at the bus station catching a cab Albany. Now, also during the cab ride over, the driver let out a massive fart, which stank so bad that Chalmers had to stick his head out of the window to escape it. It smelled like a guy who ate a smelly dog named Chili Charlie, then spat it out before taking a steamy dump on it. Solosky then patted on the driver on the back before saying, "Nice work. I'll remember that." Then he did this because Solosky had some sort of thing for farting. A farting thing that he had since 1933 at the piecement of the Dawn Smelly Hound. When they had finally arrived at Albany, Solosky then played with the driver and paid him a small loan of $1 million. They reached to the small corner store named Hamburgers and Chips. They asked the chef if they have any steamed hams, to which he replied with a massive yes. Then he did a funky dance as Chalmers and Solosky got themselves a table. The chef had brought their burgers to them and sat there curiously childlike as two men ate the hamburgers. "These hamburgers are obviously grilled," Chalmers said, as he had nearly finished a burger. "No, I said steamed hams. That's what I call hamburgers," a voice called out in the distance. Principal Seymour Skinner then came into the restaurant. "Skinner!" Chalmers yelled at the top of his lungs. "Superintendent Chalmers, I think it's time for a nappy nap," Skinner said, as Chalmers and Solosky passed out onto the floor as their burgers had been drugged. Steamed hams," Skinner said evilly, as the chef dragged the pair into the basement of the restaurant. They woke up several hours later in the days. All Chalmers could make out was a small shadow figure putting some cans of Pepsi into a baking tray. "Seymour, is that you? What are you doing here? I'm so scared," Chalmers cried, while shaking a little munchkin on a crack. "You shouldn't have come to here, Superintendent," Skinner said ominously before continuing with, "I told you steamed hams were Albany expression, but I told you that they were patent Skinner burgers on the old family recipe. But you didn't listen to me," Skinner said in a harsh but yet wet voice. "Oh, another thing, Superintendent," Skinner said before continuing with, "you really need to think of who your friends are." Solosky then appeared behind Skinner with a smug grin on his face. "Solzo!" Chalmers then yelled at the top of his lungs. Solozo then explained to Chalmers that he was actually a major drug dealer from Turkey who had become an informant of Skinner. He had also told Skinner about Chalmers' plan to find out about steamed hams as well as his plans to fire him when he discovered the truth of them. "So what is this truth about them? The truth about steamed hams?" Chalmers asked, which Skinner replied with, Here it comes now. Suddenly, with a big, fat, sweaty man came running in and yelled, "Hey, let's start the game." Huh? Chalmers said, bewildered, as Skinner said, "You see, steamed hams are actually made of Seb's poop." Then Chalmers didn't respond. Skinner just basically explained that Seb was an accident to hamburgers, but he had ate so many of them that he crapped out of pure hamburger patties, and this gave him pretty sure a steamy taste. Sebby then demonstrated by taking a massive dump on Chalmers, and it came out as pure hamburgers, freshly cooked from his butt. What the? No. Chalmers couldn't even form a proper sentence, as Skinner left him to be killed by Solowski, and the chef and Seba meanwhile accomplished Skinner back upstairs. "You backstabbing son of a gun!" Chalmers yelled at the top of his lungs, tried desperately to break free from his chains. "What have you got to do is understand what happened between me and Don Connolly's was just a strictly business matter. I have a great respect for the Don, and I would really love to have his service today." Solowski then explained that he became quite an insane addiction to Chewits. Suddenly Seb then came in, following down the stairs on top of Solowski, crushing him to death in the process. "Well, that was a bit quick," Peppa Pig said. Then she came in with the left through the cat flap. Cat flap, then make your teeth go gray. Seb realized that Chalmers is from his chains, and then Chalmers asked why he did this, and Seb revealed that he had a family back at home in Springfield who missed him terribly. He had been forced to make steamed hams after being kidnapped by Skinner, and the chef whose real name was Harold Joseph. Chalmers then agreed to help Sebby kill Skinner and Joseph since they made their way upstairs. Skinner, however, anticipated Chalmers' escape by having a large group of mobsters waiting to ambush him and Sebby. Then they headed down to attack, however, killing every last man who stood in their way. Then they made their way onto the streets, and they saw Skinner and Joseph driving off in their steam hams mobile. And Joseph picked up Chalmers a piggyback ride, as the two men followed after Skinner and Joseph. The steamed hams mobile ended up crashing outside into an old abandoned warehouse somewhere on the station island. Chalmers and Sebby then followed Skinner and Joseph inside the warehouse, where another large group of hitmen was waiting for them. They then survived the attack again and confronted Skinner and Joseph at the top of the warehouse. "What are you thinking, Chalmers? You think you could just let you walk after everything you did?" Skinner asked theoretically. "Well, I'm hoping so," Chalmers said bluntly, but Skinner continued with, "You think I give a crap about the feeds or any of those old craps at school? Old board? They're just using you, Chalmers, like Soska used you, like I used you, and just like the rat Henry used you." Then Skinner then began to explain, before continuing with, "And now, you dumb piece of garbage, you are going to pay for it all," Skinner yelled as he pulled out a Tommy gun and shooting at the floor. "Or shite, I never thought I could fire one of these things," Skinner said while trying to reload his Tommy gun. So Chalmers and Skinner then engaged in a violent shootout, while Sebby took care of Joseph by eating him in one go. Eventually, Chalmers then managed to get 6 shots into Skinner, causing him to fall onto the floor to near death. "You know something, Seymour? For the last 10 years that I've killed for my own country, and I've killed for my family. I killed anyone that got in my way, but this one's for me," Chalmers finished as he shot in the fatal bullet to Skinner's head, killing him instantly. "So where we are now?" Sebby asked as he and Chalmers made their way inside of the warehouse. "Well, after this, I'm going to take a rest," Chalmers explained. He then got outside by the cars they were already parked outside, and a large group of federal agents were there to see them. You see, Chalmers had been sent to gather information of the steamed hams after making a deal with the FBI, whose word was stopped the corruption and from leaking in the process. "Is it done?" Well, one of the feeds named Leo asked in a gruff voice that sounded like he smoked over 9,000 packs of cigarettes. Chalmers then nodded, which Leo agreed was excellent, and it looks like a celebration's in order. "Let's go to the Krusty Burger." "Sounds good to me," Leo said to Sebby and Chalmers, who got into the car which Leo was not standing next to. "Come with me, Chalmers. There's more we need to talk about," Leo said, and a bit a little sadly as Chalmers got into the car with him. "Okay, we'll see you there, then," Sebby asked, and then he got into the car, whose driver looked like he was high on toast. After they had made their way down the street, Chalmers said, "So what's the big secret?" Leo didn't respond Chalmers and looked up through the windshield, and then he saw the car taking Sabby to what seemed to be an unexpected turn, and drove off to a completely wrong direction. Hey, what the hell's going on here? Why are they taking Sabby? Chalmers asked furiously. Leo then said in a sad voice, Sorry, kid, Sabby wasn't part of your deal. All Chalmers could do was just sit there helplessly, as his new best friend was getting driven away to whatever awaited him for the end of that drive. That's all he could think about of the rain to violently pour down onto the car. And that, my little pretties, was the truth about Behind Steamed Hams, a funny pasta written by Matthew Bumford. My final thoughts on the story? Well, I think I narrated this, I believe, back in 2019. I'm not really sure because, I couldn't really, remember. I think it was sometime in 2019 where I read this story, and to be honest, oh my god, this one was funny. I have to say, this one was a pretty funny pasta. It was a really good one. Now, Matthew Bumford writes pretty good pastas, and I have to say, he writes pretty good funny pastas, and I really have to say that it's pretty amazing for what it is. It's fantastic, it's amazing. I really like how this story went out. It was just amazing. To be completely honest, I really found this one to be rather good in a matter of way. It's a really good story, to be honest. I really like how this went out. It's flat out amazing, really well made, and to be honest, I really have to say that. It's a pretty good story, and I really do like it. So I really have to say it's a pretty good one for what it is. I really have to say that this story, I really found this story to be quite humorous and funny. Like, the grammar is good, not gonna lie. The sentence structure was good. I really like how this went out. It was flat out amazing. Really funny and well made. So I definitely have to say that this one was actually a pretty good story for what it is. I really remember this story pretty well. It's amazing. Really liked how this one went out. It was really well made in detail. So I definitely have to say that this one actually was pretty well made in detail for what this is. I really do like it. So I definitely have to say that I really do find this story to be pretty good when this one was out. I think I narrated this back last year or something. I really don't know. I'm thinking maybe I did narrate this at one point, but I probably just don't remember because, it's been, quite a while. Not really sure, but, I could definitely say I really found this story to be rather amazing, to be honest. Really good, well made. I really do like how this story went out. It was flat out amazing, really well done in detail. I really do like this one. This one, I have to say, it's pretty good for what it is. Now, there are some good things about this story that could be something, but to be honest, this story was definitely a pretty good funny pasta. Like, Matthew Bumford writes pretty good funny pastas, and I've read a bunch of his stories in the past. They're actually really good and funny. So, to anybody who wants to, write their own funny pastas in the future, I highly recommend they check out, Matthew Bumford stories, because Matthew Bumford does know how to make pretty good funny pastas. I definitely have to say, Matthew Bumford, excellent job with this story. This story, I have to say, was awesome. I really do know that you put your time and effort into these stories. This is no different. Pretty well made in detail. Everything about it is flat out amazing. It is funny because I could see Seymour Skinner from, Simpsons doing something like this. And this is, not out of character for him to sit there and do that. But I could definitely say, I could imagine this being a Simpsons episode. So there's that. But other than that, I really found this story to be quite enjoyable and good. Anyways, with that being the case, with that being said, this is just simply my own personal opinion. And if you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these funny pastas and creepy pastas, whatever you prefer to call this one. And this is just simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of this story would have to be I guess you could say 10 out of 10. Pretty good pasta, really well made in detail. I really like it. It had a good concept. I really do like it. So anyways, I guess with that being the case, and with that being said, let me see. And anyways, that being said, What did you guys think about this? Well, you could guess, creepy pasta or funny pasta. Did you all enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what you have done person to help make this story a lot better? Leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comments section down below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you're happy to be brand new here on this channel, be sure to like, comment, subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell when I upload so that you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out.